Hello everyone. Hopefully all of you are right as rain. Many of you know that I was once a passionate baker, especially during lockdown when I loved making cakes. So today I'm gonna show you my vanilla cake recipe in a professional way. Let's dive into my video. Well, first you need to get our ratios right. There's a little bit of math involved for the perfect vanilla sponge cake. For the base, we need to know the weight of the eggs. Yes, you heard it right, the weight of the eggs. I'm making a 2-pound vanilla cake, which requires 200 grams of eggs. Professional chefs assume that one egg weighs 50 grams, so 4 eggs would be enough for this recipe. But these eggs actually weighs 244 grams. As I'm a little bit close-fisted person, I'm not gonna waste any part of the egg and I'm gonna use extra 44 grams. The ratio you follow is half the weight of the eggs for both sugar and flour. So, if you are using 200 grams of eggs, you need 100 grams of sugar and 100 grams of all-purpose flour, not regular flour. Since I'm using 244 grams of eggs, I'll use 122 grams of sugar and 122 grams of flour. Well, the next step is crack the eggs and separate the egg yolks from the whites. Do this step carefully, okay? Now it's time to add the sugar to the egg whites. I prefer powdered sugar, but regular sugar works too. It's time to beat the egg whites until they form stiff peaks, which is also known as meringue. I think many of you know what is meringue. So now just beat until it looks like a cloud. Then add the egg yolks and vanilla essence and mix for about 10 to 15 seconds. Yes, our cake batter is ready. Okay, let's add the dry ingredients. Now I'm gonna introduce a new ingredient for vanilla sponge cake base, and that is corn flour. Corn flour basically weakens the flour, which is perfect for the cake base. This is similar to what many stores sell as cake premix. I'm making my own cake flour by mixing these ingredients, but bear in mind, for vanilla cake, the ratio is to use 20 grams of corn flour and subtract that amount from the flour calculation. Now I'm also adding 5 grams of baking powder and sifting everything twice to ensure it's well combined. It's time to gradually pour this mixture into a batter, okay? Meanwhile, preheat your pan. Turn on the gas stove to medium-high heat and let the pan heat for about 10 minutes. I am using a clove to cover the lid hole to keep the heat in. You can use a piece of paper or whatever you want. Now you will need a cake mold. For 1-pound cake, use a 6 or 7-inch mold. For a 2-pound cake, go with an 8 or 9-inch mold. Since I'm making a 2-pound cake, I'm using a 9-inch mold. Now line the bottom with baking paper, but since I don't have any, I've used a round cutout of regular paper. Grease the mold slightly and place the paper at the bottom. It's time to pour the batter gently into the mold and tap it to remove any air bubbles. Use a toothpick to swirl around the batter to ensure no air pockets remain. I am using sauce lick stick. Now place the mold in the preheated pan and turn the heat to low. Let it bake slowly. I know, I'm looking horrible without makeup. But you know what? I don't want to waste 2 more hours to put on makeup just for this 20-second cameo. So, bye. Now, for an important tip. Never ever frost a hot cake. Make sure your cake is completely cool before frosting. I wrapped my cake in plastic wrap while it cooled. Once it's cooled, I unfold it and slice into 2 layers. By the way, have you noticed I didn't use any oil? Professionally, oil or butter is used in only moist cake bases. However, I'm making a sponge cake base, but if you want to add oil, then 10 to 20 gram is enough for a 2-pound cake. For the frosting, start with a pan that's been chilled in the fridge. I'm using Vivo whipped cream, which isn't my favorite, but I couldn't find my preferred brand in local market. For this frosting, you will need whipped cream, icing sugar, and vanilla essence. Since it's very hot, I put some ice in the bowl to keep the cream from melting. This helps maintain the right texture while you whip it. I pour 300 grams of whipped cream into the bowl and start beating it. Once it starts to thicken, I add 2 to 3 tablespoons of icing sugar, though you can adjust the amount to your taste. I also add few drops of vanilla essence and beat the mixture until it's fluffy and cloudy. We also need sugar syrup to keep the cake moist. It's simply sugar dissolved in water with a drop of vanilla essence if you like. I pour this syrup over the cake layers to keep them soft. Next, I transfer the whipped cream into a piping bag for easy application. I use a simple circle design for the middle part of the cake, which is easy for beginners. I then smooth it out with a scraper or knife. We need to crumb coat the cake first, okay? If you are not familiar with crumb coating, you can find tutorials online. Finally, it's time to make the final frosting. Take a piece of plastic wrap and spread some white cream on it. In another bowl, mix a different color of cream. Spread the colored cream alongside the white cream on the plastic wrap. Now roll up and tie the plastic wrap and cut a small tip of the end and place it in your piping bag. I'm using a cute nozzle to create the design, but feel free to use whatever pattern you like. Since I'm making this cake for home, I want to keep it simple. I'm not going for anything too elaborate. But remember one thing, dessert tastes best when chilled. Let the cake cool in the refrigerator for at least 3 to 4 hours or overnight if possible. You know what? You may fail at your first attempt, but never give up. The more you practice, the more confident you become. Because success comes from hard work and perseverance, I guess. Oh God. One more thing. You don't need to like, share or subscribe me for this video. Just enjoy it. And if you feel any problem about making cake, then please let me know. Bye.